Well, folks, today we are going to be diving into the 2025 New Jersey gubernatorial election. We have a new poll out from national research that was conducted from June 11th to June 12th. And they're showing that Republican Jack Ciattarelli is dominated, and I mean dominated, among independents in this most recent poll. This will be a very critical group in a blue-leaning state. So today we're going to break down the numbers and exactly what they mean for you. So today, we'll just do a little quick background. New Jersey's gubernatorial election, right now, it's set for November 2025. You know, it's one of two states that hold their gubernatorial elections the year after the presidential election. And incumbent Democrat Governor Phil Murphy is term limited. Now, the primaries just occurred back on June 10th, 2025. Jack Ciattarelli won the Republican nomination very easily. Mikie Sherill won her Democrat primary, but I don't know exactly what the numbers came down to, but she won against six other candidates that were in the race. Some people who went to the right of her, some people campaigned hard to the left of her. She came out victorious in this election, so we know this will be the matchup for 2025. And like we said, this is one of only two gubernatorial elections that will occur in 2025 alongside the Virginia gubernatorial elections, making it really a national bellwether vote for the sentiment of where the voters are under President Trump's second term. Now, we know New Jersey has leaned blue for decades, voting for Democrats in every presidential election since 1988. But the governor's mansion often flips. The Republicans last won it in 2013 with Chris Christie. Fast forward to 2017, the Democrats won it back. Phil Murphy flipped it, won it by 14, just a little bit over 14 points. Back in 2017. Then it was a very tight election in 2021. Phil Murphy won re-election, squeaked by. Jack Ciattarelli lost by only 3 percentage points in this elections. It was razor thin in this election. But let's take a look at this most recent poll that came out. So we have a poll, and I'm going to get it pulled up right here. This is from national research. Obviously, it is a Republican-associated poll, but let's be honest. At this point, in the 2021 cycle, this same poll had Jack Ciattarelli down, I think, 12 or 11 points. Might have even been 13 points that had him down. And they still underestimated him in the final vote count by like 3 percentage points. They had Ciattarelli down roughly 6 percentage points going into 2021. He only lost by 3. So let's take a look at this. So this research poll, like we said, from June 11th and 12th, shows an extremely tight race. Mikie Sherill is still leading in this race by 3 percentage points, but it is within inside the margin of error. The margin of error in this poll is 4 percentage points, with 12% of the electorate as of right now undecided. So about 1 in 10 voters among likely voters. So this is not registered voters, this is among likely voters. Are undecided in this race. But the big story here, this is the big story, is among independents. Ciattarelli has a lead of roughly 8 percentage points in a group that often decides elections in New Jersey. Look at this right here. Unaffiliated or independent voters lean towards Ciattarelli by roughly, at this point, 8 percentage points, but they also have the highest amount of undecided voters out of any of these categories. 17% of the voters who consider themselves unaffiliated with the party, they're independent, they're not a Democrat, they're not a Republican. 17%, almost 1 in every 5 voters are undecided in this election. But the Republicans still have an 8-point edge as of right now, which this is a pretty big difference from the Survey USA poll from May 20, it was the end of May, I believe, when this occurred, that had Mikie Sherill up here, 13 percentage points, 13 points. Now, it didn't go down, break down independence, but it suggests a pretty big shift. It suggests that there's a big shift towards the Republican Party in New Jersey. Now you ask, why do independents matter? And I think we all should know at this point. But the reality is that 60% of independents say they want the next governor to work with Trump, not oppose him, aligning closer to Republican priorities than Democrat priorities. Who Democrats say they want, like 80% of the people who are going to vote for the Democrats say that they want someone who's going to stand up to Donald Trump. And Ciattarelli's lead with independents is huge because they make up a significant chunk of New Jersey's electorate. And their rightward tilt mirrors Trump's stronger than expected 2024 performance when he lost the state by less than 6 percentage points. Less than 6 percentage points. Remember, Biden won this state by what? Like 15, 16 points? 16 points Biden won the state by in 2020. Fast forward to 24, Harris doesn't even break double digits. We're sitting here at less than 6 percentage points that Kamala Harris won this state by. Go back to 2016. Clinton won it by 14 points. 14 percentage points. Because, we think of New Jersey as this deep blue state. And yes, even though it's been a deep blue state, have they elected Republican governors? Absolutely. Now, Chris Christie was a much more moderate. Look, he had to work with a legislator that was controlled by the Democrats at the end of the day. That was the reality. They voted for Chris Christie in 2013. In 2009, Chris Christie won and flipped it. I think he won by 3 percentage points here. Like that, yes. Can it be close in a deep blue state like this? But this is at the presidential level. When you're seeing the highest turnout you're going to see, you're showing that Republicans have made up huge amounts of ground in the Garden State. There was no doubt about that. You cannot deny that. And a big thing that we're seeing here, a big piece of data you can take away from this poll here is the desire for change. Look right here. Right now, in the Garden State, 54% of people believe that New Jersey is on the wrong track. It is headed in the wrong direction. Only 33% believe things are going in the right direction in the state. Wow. And when you're looking at people who believe that the state is on the wrong track, the voters break for the Republicans 3-4. 3 out of every 4 voters that believe the state is on the wrong track are breaking for the Republicans. Then when you ask the question of people who want to shake up Trenton, which that is where that's kind of where the legislator is. If you want to shake up Trenton, you are breaking for Jack Ciattarelli by 90%. 90% in this election. And Ciattarelli, he's done a lot. He has done a lot in this race and over the last 4 years. He's pitched himself as the most pro-business governor that would ever exist in New Jersey's history, promising to cut red tape, regulatory tape, cap property taxes at 1% of the home's assessed value, and slash state spending by roughly 30%, which this hits home in a state where the economy and affordability are voters' top concerns. Now, Ciattarelli also secured Trump's endorsement in May, which is a game changer in a GOP primary. He leaned into it, promising to work with Trump, with the White House, with the America First agenda, while pledging to stand up for New Jersey if needed, which I think he can do a very good job of balancing the MAGA enthusiasm with the moderate and pragmatic appeal that you need in order to win in a blue state like this. Now, his strong 2021 showing in which he flipped 3 of South Jersey's county, so 3 of their counties, Atlantic, Cumberland, and I don't know how to say the last one, but I believe it's Gloucester. I'm not 100% sure how to say it. But he is now doubling down on these regions with local leaders in the area. He's campaigning with them, receiving tons of praise and attention because he's looking out for the needs of the people in South Jersey. And polls consistently show that he has a high name recognition, extremely high name recognition. Like among Republicans, it was over 80%. Had positive name recognition of him. And unlike some other GOP rivals in the primary, he's not all in on some of the culture wars. His focus is on affordability, governance, appeal to independence, tired of high taxes, and the status quo with the state legislator, which has made it very clear he's not going to lean into these culture wars that people like Governor DeSantis can do, because you're in a state that's going to vote for Donald Trump by 15 points, that's going to elect Ron DeSantis in 22 by almost 20 percentage points, by 1.5 million votes. He's not leaning into that, which I think will play out very well for him. And Mikie Sherill, I believe, has she was probably the better candidate to win in this race. If you're a Democrat, she was probably the best candidate that could have been nominated for a Democrat. Look, she's a former Navy pilot. She's a congresswoman. She's a formidable opponent, but she has hurdles. Her campaign is heavily anti-Trump. Like that's what they're leaning into. If you listen to her victory speech when she won the Democrat nomination, she said Trump more than she said Ciattarelli. I swear she did. She is trying to tie the two together, which, trust me, it plays well with the Democrats, but it risks alienating independents. who lean towards cooperation with Trump. When you have a poll right here, you're clearly seeing that independents want they want whoever the next governor is to work with the Trump administration. Also, they want them to stand up for their priorities, but they want you to work with them. And by all polling data that we have right now, this will be a change election. This is going to be a change election. And also, it brings in this whole idea of Mikie Sherill's the millions of dollars, the fact that she's tripled her net worth to over $10 million in the last 6 years while serving in Congress. Not very good. Not very good. That's not good. That is definitely a liability going into this next contest. But I think it's going to play out very well for the Republicans. Although I know, historically speaking, New Jersey and Virginia vote for a governor that is not associated with the party in power in D.C. We know that. We know that's the fact. But out of all the data we see, this is a much better chance that Republicans have to win this election. They have an extremely good opportunity. And if you're looking at her platform, she wants more housing, more community solar, holding utilities accountable, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, which maybe appeals to progressive voters, but may not resonate with working class voters. You can see right here, working classes, it was a 43-43 split between the two with 12% undecided. If this continues to split and Mikie Sherill continues to lose support among working class voters by really leaning into these progressive ideas, policy prescriptions, that will help the Republicans in the state. Obviously, New Jersey is a blue state, and we have to give Mikie Sherill an edge here. And add that with the state's history of rejecting the president's party. And the fact, but you also have to deal with the fact that no party has ever won 3 straight governor terms since 1981. Which, now granted, just because that happened doesn't mean that's it's going to happen. But I think it definitely puts pressure on her to broaden her appeal, to not lean into as many of these progressive ideas that maybe she wants to. But what does this mean for November? As of right now, the Republicans have an edge with the independents, which could be key to flipping the governor's mansion. And if this lead holds, and turnout among the GOP base, who backed Trump over 90%, he's got a serious shot. You want to talk about the economy, affordability, things that are driving voters' concerns. And the Republicans are laser focused on these issues. And I can't say the same about the Democrats. I can't. But Trump's influence is also a double-edged sword. He has a 47% approval rating in New Jersey, according to an Emerson poll from 2025, which boosts Ciattarelli with the Republicans, but also could cap him when it comes to more moderates, more independents, people who maybe aren't MAGA aligned, but they agree with some of the policy prescriptions that he's putting forward. So being able to court the MAGA base, but also not alienate the MAGA base, and it's just this fine line that you're going to have to walk. But you also got to have independent candidates that could split the vote and can play a big role. But I think with Ciattarelli's momentum right now, he is better positioned to consolidate support among the electorate. And now, history is not on the GOP side. It's not. But I think this is the best chance he's had, even better than 2021. So that's going to wrap things up for today, folks. As always, let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think that the Republicans can flip the governor's mansion in New Jersey? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you never miss another video from us again in the future. And folks, we will catch you next time.